What's up, guys? Welcome to This Week in MXA, episode number 49, presented to you by O'Neill Racing. Thanks to those guys for sponsoring this video series and keeping us going. Currently, MXA's Travis Fant and I are in South Carolina at the Club MX facility, testing some really cool motorcycles. We got Garrett Marchbank's bike that we're riding this week, and also Alex Martin's bike that we're riding this week as well. So follow us on Motocross Action Mag on Instagram to see more regular updates about what we're doing day to day. In this week's video, we have an interview that Trevor Nelson shot. Trevor's the guy behind the camera, editing these videos, making them fun and entertaining, and also making me sound better on camera. He's the one who's doing all that good stuff. He got a really cool video at EKS Brand headquarters with Rich Taylor, the owner of EKS Brand Goggles, talking a little bit about their history and also giving us a little tour of the EKS Brand's warehouse.
Hey, this is Rich Taylor with EKS Brand Goggles, and let's go check out the California warehouse. Everybody's welcomed by Chassis, the EKS Brand lab. She pretty much runs the show. And I started the whole company about 2007. A really good friend of mine, Jason Chisholm, he kind of came in and helped us out. And then, we took a second out on the house and kind of did the American dream. I was racing professionally for a long time, and then I was testing for Suzuki as their R&D test rider and race team test rider. And we kind of decided to come up with EKS Brand Goggles. And, Jason Chisholm he was a godsend. He really helped us out. My dad, of course, Hook Taylor, he had run Smith Goggles for, like 18 years. So we kind of had knowledge of the goggle industry. We kind of knew what we wanted to do. I had so many ideas from racing so long. I ski raced before I raced motocross. So goggles were just kind of a huge part of my life. So what else would we do besides a goggle company? So we did EKS Brand goggles. We also did beer goggles. We got the trademark for beer on a strap, kind of fun stuff. But let's go into the warehouse and check out what we got in here. So as you can see, we got Zachary, my son. He does all the shipping for us. He's on the computer doing orders, trying to figure out where addresses go. Richard, he races professionally also, and he kind of is in here doing whatever we need to be done. We have orders that are going to Europe back here in the back that need to be palletized, and he and Zach kind of put that all together for us, make sure all the inventory's accounted for, and it takes all of us. But we're a family-run business, which is kind of cool. It's the boys and my wife and my dad and myself just doing it all up. We have one other guy, Jason Lightheart, who kicks ass for us. He does all the graphics and the website stuff. He's not here right now, but other than that, it's a family-run deal. So just coming through the warehouse, I'm sure everybody, if you've ordered anything in the motorcycle industry, it's like everything's out, not just goggle-wise, but gear and everything else. Well, we're kind of having those same issues. Is the supply chain and shipping and everything else has been such a nightmare this year. That's why we're so low with our goggle count. Normally the shelves are completely full out here at this warehouse. Luckily, we do work with Western Power Sports. So if you're a dealer, you can call Western and they can hook you up. And they've got 6 warehouses around the country that are stocked with EKS Brand products. So just keep that in mind if you're a dealer or if you're a consumer, go to your dealer and tell them, hey, call Western. They've got the product. But anyways, we've got a really good Lucid roll-off system. We do have those in stock. Our EKS goggle, of course, beer goggles. Just kind of a rundown. Some more Lucids over here, and our Gox flat-out goggle, which was it's still our original frame from the very beginning, and it's still such an amazing goggle at an incredible price. Coming back here, of course, you got to have the 97 CR250. I actually worked for Honda for a long time developing this bike, and we used to call it the lead pipe because it was so hard to ride, and it was so rigid and stiff and just kind of horrible, to be honest with you. It was not a good motorcycle, but you got to have one. It's a collector's item. Kind of a funny story, when I tested this bike for 2 years prior to when they released it, and I would go out on a 96 or a 95 CR250, I'd be 5 seconds a lap faster on it. I'd come in and I'd go, you guys cannot sell this motorcycle. And they're like, well, it's kind of too late. We're already sort of in production. So we did what we could, and actually the first ones we developed were really good. but they kept cracking. And Honda is very diligent about their durability. It's a Honda, their durability has to be good. So they kept stiffening up the frame because it would crack. They'd stiffen it up some more. By the end of the day, the thing was so rigid you could barely ride around the track without swapping your brains out. But anyways, the collector item for sure. So just, coming by here, I just wanted to show you some of our original goggles. Our original Gox frame, this was one that we called the Volcano, believe it or not. Josh Strang had a signature goggle. Josh is a really good off-road rider, still races to this day. He's worn our goggles since 2008. This was a pretty cool replica goggle we did for him. Mike Alessi was sort of our first factory guy. We did a special, Mike Alessi signature goggle. When we had Mike, he still wears our goggle on and off now, depending on which races he's doing, but he did so much for our company, believe it or not. Back in the day, his name just propelled us up to the next level. It was really cool. Just some of our Scatter X goggle. This goggle did really well for us, a few years ago. Now our new Lucid goggle, which has just been incredible. So let's kind of cruise upstairs and you can see our office upstairs. We just have some stuff on the walls on the way up there. Alex Martin rode for us for a year or two when he was with Cycle Trader. Richard's got a couple pictures. My son Zachary's got a picture from a magazine shoot a while back. Some good stuff with Dirt Bike Magazine up here with Justin Jones. Yeah, some cool stuff with these guys. Well, these are our upstairs offices. We've got Melissa. She does so much for the entire company, but she does a lot of the racer stuff. When you send a resume in, a lot of times you'll deal with her, and she does so much on social media for us. It's really incredible. So that's Melissa. Of course, my dad Hook. That's who we've been talking about. He ran Smith Goggles forever and designed a lot of these pictures that you're going to see on the wall up here. Some really cool early '80s concepts that it's kind of crazy because a lot of them are sort of built into goggles that you see, not just in our company, but in all the different companies. The ideas that he had back in the day with the wider vision, the bigger goggle, the wider roll-off system, that's not new stuff, man. We, between my dad and myself, we had come up with this stuff years ago. Just never brought it really to fruition. We did have one goggle called the Violator back in the day, which is similar to what's going on today. It's sort of, again, it was a Smith goggle product with a wider view. The lens actually slid in and out from the top. We don't have a lens anymore for it, but you just kind of pop this off and then the lens slid down and then you'd pop it back on super easy, which is kind of what everybody's trying to go to now, like, with our new lenses, how they just kind of, you pop these up and the lens just simply pops out. So it's very, very similar. And then you just, pop it back in, boom, and it's done. That was kind of what we were doing years ago, trying to make it that simple. Now it's a really high-end goggle that works really well, that's that easy. Just some of the pictures that we had. Back then you didn't just bust it out on a computer. You had to have a professional artist come in and draw up your ideas and hope that he sort of got the idea. And we have some really cool ones. Of course, they're on the wall. It's a different company than EKS Brand, but the stuff's so cool we have to show it. Just different ideas of how a goggle even ratchets into a helmet instead of having a goggle strap. The way the lenses slide in and out, vent foams that you can replace if you need it denser for dust, if you need it coarser for going through the woods and you need more airflow. Just so many ideas, As far as what we do now with EKS Brand, obviously face foams are so important. We have a whole kind of plethora of face foam here. Different shapes, everything's molded, different sizes, different thicknesses. Just makes such a huge difference. We've had a 4-layer face foam on our goggles for a long time, which works so well for sweat and just keeping the sweat and water out of your eyes halfway through a moto. We're working on it for the new goggle right now. We just got some samples in that worked really well, so you're going to see that coming in 2022 for sure. We also have a 20-layer molded face foam that it's just working so well that you're going to see all this stuff coming in 2022 on the new Lucid goggle. People are going to be really stoked with it for sure. So for 2022, we already have the samples of what our goggles are going to be like. And again, it's going to have that 20 millimeter face foam that's all molded and it's so comfortable. It works so well. We're also going to have a race goggle that's going to have our 4-layer face foam with a layer of neoprene in the middle that's amazing. This is kind of a little sneak peek. We're supposed to have these at the end of October, so we're kind of really looking forward to it, but this is sort of going to be our line for 2022. You know, again, our roll-off system, we have this new roll-off system that's actually 45 millimeters. Like, it's amazing. Like, it makes it almost as good as just using a tear off. It's so wide and it works so well. And the factory has done a really good job to make those things really, really well and really strong. And we're pretty pumped with it for sure. So when we start building a goggle, obviously we have to make a 3D mold of it. Jason does, our guy Jason Lightheart, he does really good CAD drawings, and he's able to get it to the factory, and then in turn they make a 3D mold of it so we can kind of get an idea of how it's going to fit, how it's going to look. And that's sort of where we start. Just another thing with our goggles, we have a whole wide variety of lenses. Dual pane lenses, dual pane vented lenses, 4 roll-off systems, without roll-off systems. We have so many different tints, but the new tint that kind of we're so stoked about is our afterburner tint. And, this has a lot of rose in it. It kind of highlights all of the shadows. This tint is so amazing. It works in the shade or in overcast conditions. It'll brighten everything up. And then in the sun, it's got a lot of gray and blue in it. So it'll actually cut the sun, cut the glare. It's amazing. I mean, this tint works so many places. It's the hot setup. I think you're going to see guys using this indoors in Supercross, and then you'll see them at the Nationals just loving it. At Washougal, places like that where there's lots of shadows, it'll actually brighten it up and kind of cut the shadow. And then even if it's Glen Helen where there's not a tree in sight, you're still stoked because it's got a lot of gray and blue in it, so it'll cut that glare. This is our afterburner lens. I can't speak enough about it. So we have a lot of R&D stuff up here. One thing that's so important is face foam on the goggle. And me being a racer from back in the day, like I'm a stickler about sweat in your eyes and just comfort of the goggle and everything else. So, we test so many different face foams. On our current GOX goggle and on our EKS goggle, we use a 4-layer foam that's got a layer of neoprene in the middle that works so good for sweat. We're actually going to introduce that onto our Lucid goggle in 2022. We're pretty pumped about it because we got them to form it, and it's just the way that it makes the sweat drip off the sides of the goggles, along with our sweat channel, which comes standard in the Lucid goggle. We have a sweat channel underneath the face foam that allows the sweat to drip off the sides and down the side of your face rather than just splashing on the lens or into your eyes. So, we do a lot with different thicknesses, different shapes. All this stuff's molded, on different molds. And then we just test and try to make it the best we can make it. One thing I did my whole life was test motorcycles. So when it comes to my own company, like, I'm kind of over the top with making sure it's as good as it can be. 2022, we've got some of this stuff incorporated into the goggle that's going to be pretty amazing. All right, MXA, that's sort of a tour of our warehouse out here in California. I want to thank you guys and everybody watching this who supports us. It really means a lot. We are a family-run business, and we do our best. And make sure you check out our website, EKSbrand.com. Our 2022 product will be up there at the end of this month, and that's it. Chassis down there is getting tired, so you guys got to bail.
All right, guys, so that's it for this week in MXA, episode number 49. As I mentioned, check out our Instagram at Motocross Action Mag for more regular updates on what we're doing day to day. Thank you guys for tuning in. MotocrossActionMag.com for the latest news, reviews, race results, product tests, shootouts, videos, and more. And subscribe to our YouTube channel if you like this video to stay up to date with more, as we got lots coming to the channel.